Today, I have, I think, Army's big uncle, father almost figure-like for all of you who have seen his concerts. He is the concert producer, also the CEO of his own company. It is none other than 김상욱 PD님 in the studio. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. 네, 저는 대중음악 콘서트를 연출하고 제작하는 플랜 A의 김상욱 PD라고 합니다.
All right, so he just introduced himself. I'll be very honest today. I'm a huge fan of anybody who does concerts. And the main producers are amazing people. And I'm super excited to have him in the studio. So I already kind of started off with the fact that, you know, you're kind of like the uncle figure or like the papa figure. I think uncle, because BTS's CEO is kind of like their father figure. So you're like the uncle figure for all ARMY because you get a chance to organize all the amazing concerts. So you get a chance to go see. So obviously you're going to be really popular amongst all ARMY around the world. So I'm asking, do you get ever like any DMs or emails or anything from the fans?
Well, actually not really famous like that.
Okay.
But 그 아미들이라기보다는 제 책을 읽고 나서 약간 연출이라든지 콘서트를 만드는 일에 관심이 있는 청소년들이 가끔 뭐 DM이나 이메일을 보내곤 합니다.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's like, well, I'm not that famous amongst all ARMY, but if anybody has read my book or somebody who might be on the younger side, they tend to like DM him or email him kind of talking about like how they could get into the field and kind of do the same thing as well. So yeah, speaking of books, you wrote 2 so far. So kind of how did that start? Because I feel that what you do in writing a book can be 2 different things. So how did that happen? PD님도 하시는데 이제 책까지 쓰시기에는 너무 약간 동떨어져 있을 수도 있었거든요.
근데 사실 저는 콘서트 일을 하는 사람인데 콘서트라는 게 보통은 영상으로 비디오로 아티스트를 중심으로 다 기록이 되거든요.
그렇죠.
사실 이제 뒤에서 이렇게 공연을 만드는 사람들에 대한 내용을 그리고 그 사람들이 만든 공연을 어떤 텍스트와 그림으로 이렇게 그걸 직접 만든 사람의 입장에서 그런 기록을 남겨놓는 게 굉장히 큰 의미가 있을 거라고 생각했어요.
Okay, wow. So when we ever watch a concert or whatever, we get a chance to see the concert from the artist's perspective. You know, we go to watch videos of different things. But not so often we get a chance to see the directors or the staff members' perspective of how a concert is put together and how that is done. So we thought that kind of just like a diary, it would be great to kind of write all that down, organize my thoughts, and then put that into that kind of a perspective to start off with. So one of our listeners, actually a few of our listeners, reach out to me saying that they're reading your most recent book recently. So I kind of want to see maybe the transition between the first book and the second book, if there is any. 사실 저희 청취자분들이 이번에 피디님이 내셨던 책을 많이 읽고 있더라고요. 그래서 첫 번째 책이랑 두 번째 책의 전체적으로 봤을 때는 내용이 좀 많이 다르기는 하는데 혹시 모를 청취자분들을 위해서 좀 소개를 간단하게 해주신다면.
네, 제가 2012년에 냈던 김 PD의 쇼타임이라는 책은 제가 딱 공연을 시작한 지 딱 10년 만에 나온 책이었어요. 그래서 제가 약간 주니어 때 진짜 팔타임 잡부터 시작해서 어떤 약간 디렉터가 되자마자까지 한 그런 10년 동안의 시간을 이제 기록한 책이었고 그 다음에 이제 올해 나온 책이 그 K-팝 시대를 항해하는 콘서트 연출기라는 책인데 이 책이 또 9년 만에 나온 책이거든요. 그래서 그 9년 동안 있었던 제가 만들었던 특히 이제 그 기간 동안 가장 많이 만들었던 게 이제 BTS 월 투어니까 그 투어에 대한 제작기들을 좀 많이 담았고 또 이제 제가 돌아보니 이제 얼추 한 20년 돼서 돌아보니 내 인생에서 어떤 것들이 나를 디렉터로 만들었나 그런 이제 순간들을 또 같이 담았습니다.
Oh, okay. So yeah, for any of you who didn't know, the first book that was released was Kim PD's Showtime. That was the first one. That was released in 2012, and it was kind of just the 10 years from starting off as like a part-time job for him to just the past 10 years of him kind of growing into becoming a director, becoming a main producer for concerts. So I think that if my personal input is if you are maybe like starting off in the business and maybe want to get to know how to get started, that would be kind of like the perfect book to check out. He was also saying that the second book that was released in 2021 was a show director's logbook in K-pop Wave is the English title for it. And it was about the 9 years that he's been now since the first book. And it does kind of focus on BTS a lot because he has worked with BTS the most out of all the other artists that he's worked for. Talks about a little bit of the tours that he's done, all of that as well, how he's grown in the past. And he just kind of looked back at the past 20 years and thought like, what kind of a director, like what has made me who I am today? And he just kind of put all that together into the book. And so that's something you can really enjoy if you do end up checking out the book in general. So you're a CEO of your own company. Now, I need to kind of know what the company is like because I feel that when, like you said earlier, a lot of people don't really, I think, know that much about the behind the scenes part of concerts. So I'm kind of curious about your company as well. 회사를 좀 소개를 해주신다면 피디님 말씀하신 것처럼 사실 콘서트를 진행을 하면서 스태프들의 이야기는 그렇게 흔히 접할 수 있는 거는 아니어서 혹시 대표님 지금 대표로서 있는 회사는 그런 회사인 건지
네.
좀 약간 그 다른 회사인 건지 그거 좀
저희 회사는 이제 디렉터들과 프로듀서들이 모인 회사입니다.
Okay.
네, 그래서 이제 저희 회사가 예를 들면 뭐 사운드, 뭐 라이팅, 뭐 이런 팀들을 같이 묶어서 어떤 하나의 쇼를 만들기 위한 큰 프로덕션을 구성을 하는 거죠.
Okay. So yeah, he said that his company is pretty much like with producers, directors, sound, everybody has their own specialty and they come together to create like an actual process. Is this like common? How does this kind of work out? 지금 피디님 하고 계시는 회사는 좀 흔한 건가요? 아니면 지금까지 뭐 SM이라든지 다른 회사들은 그냥 자체적으로 진행이 되는 거 어떻게 되는 건가요?
그렇게
테크니컬.
이제 인하우스로 가지고 있는 회사들도 있고요. 예를 들면 like SM, 뭐
Okay.
YG, 뭐
Okay.
이런 회사들은 이제 공연 아티스트도 많고 공연도 되게 많으니까
그쵸.
인하우스로 그런 팀을 가지고 있는 거고. 네, 이제 좀 작은 회사라든지 아니면 큰 회사 중에서도 이런 계속 밖에 있는 연출팀을 찾는 경우가 있어요. 이제
Okay.
그런 경우의 팀인 거죠, 저희는.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, he was saying that certain artists or certain companies like SM or YG, they have in-house production. So they actually have like directors and stuff like that are working within the company. But some other big companies or even some smaller companies, they just feel that they would like to put it in the experts' hands. And so that's when they would reach out to him and his company and labels like this because they actually have the team together. So a lot of our listeners are getting probably interested in the fact like I can maybe work with my favorite celebrities. So how could I maybe sign up to be a part of your company? 제가 만약에 피디님 회사에 연출이든 뭐든 이렇게 좀 면접을 보고 싶으면 진행을 어떻게 하면 되는 건가요?
정기적이진 않은데
네.
사람이 필요하거나 아니면 비즈니스가 커질 때마다 이제 사람을 뽑고요.
오.
그때 뭐 저희 공고를 보시고 어플라이를 하신 다음에 뭐 서류하고 면접하고 네, 그런 과정이 있습니다.
Okay. So yeah, this is some hope for some of our listeners. It's not all the time. But sometimes the productions do get bigger. And if it's a larger scale, obviously they're going to need more people on deck. And so they will post an announcement on their company homepage. And then if you see that and you make the qualifications and you send in your portfolio and you do the whole job interview aspect, then yeah, you can probably sign up. 이거 봐요. 저희 유튜브로 yes, please give me a job.
Apply.
Exactly. Apply, Brooke, apply. Next time they need somebody, apply. So, I mean, from what I've seen, you were able to kind of help BTS with their debut showcase and up until now. So, I mean, you've really seen them grown. Does that mean that you also got a chance to see them during their trainee days? 데뷔 쇼케이스도 하셨다고 이제 돼 있는데 혹시 그러면 데뷔 쇼케이스를 만들기 위해서는 BTS의 또 연습생 시절도 같이 다 보고 그렇게 되는 건가요?
뭐 많이 보지는 않고요.
네.
그냥 뭐 잠깐 봤고
네네.
그리고 이제 가장 많이 본 건 역시 이제 데뷔 쇼케이스 그 현장에서 네, 그리고 이제 뭐 연습실에서 이때 많이 봤죠.
이제 좀 준비 과정
네,
때문에.
네.
Okay, so yeah, he didn't really see them like since they were babies, but he was able to see a little bit of their training, lifestyle and stuff like that. And of course, as they were getting closer to the debut showcase, he was able to see them practice, see visually what's going on, and kind of just go from there for the average of things. So, I'm kind of curious if you remember how many concerts you've done until now.
400 plus?
Wait, 400? 400. 이거는 뭐 쇼케이스 콘서트 이런 것까지 다 포함인 거죠?
팬 미팅, 뭐
Fan meetings, everything. Wow. 그러면 제일 시간이 오래 걸리는 건 아무래도 콘서트겠죠?
콘서트가 제일 오래 걸리죠.
Then how about like tours? I've always been curious as to like how a tour comes together. 사실 투어는 날짜들도 좀 좁박하긴 하지만 돌아다니기도 돌아다니고 그 장비도 다시 돌아다녀야 되고.
네.
사실 뭐 뮤지컬 같은 경우는 한 공연장에서 오래 하고 그거를 하기 위해서 배우분들이 이제 그 스테이지에 맞게끔 움직이게 되는데 왠지 투어는 그렇지 않을 것 같거든요. 그래서 그 준비 과정은 뭐 좀 세세하게 얘기해 주셔도 되니까 좀 그런 분이 있을까요?
그 월투어링은 기본적으로 보통의 경우는 한국에서 처음 공연을 만들고 그 공연을 뭐 쉽게 얘기하면 카피 앤 페이스트를 하는 거예요.
오케이.
예, 그 전 지구를 돌아다니면서.
오케이.
근데 이제 그 도시마다 공연장마다 특성이 다르니까 뭐 무대 사이즈도 달라지고 뭐 무대 뎁스도 달라지고 하니까 그거에 맞게 조금씩 트리밍을 하는 과정이 있습니다.
그러면 아예 막 곡을 싹 바꾸거나 막 그 정도는 아니고 거의 비슷하게 간다고 볼 수
거의 98%는 똑같다고 생각하시면 돼요.
Okay. So I was always curious as to tours, especially like world tours, because let's say for a musical, the actors train for months to get themselves ready for one particular area, to fit themselves to that stage. But technically, for a world tour, the staff, the stage, the artist, everybody is picking that up and moving it around the world. And so I was asking, like, what goes into it? Like, what happens then and there? And he says that it's pretty much like a copy-paste ordeal. Most of the time, it'll start domestically. There will be a domestic concert first. And then pretty much about 98% of that concert is going to pretty much be the exact thing that they do, just in different cities and in different countries around the world. So to see if you see any differences, rarely. I mean, he's saying that there could be like a depth difference for the stage or like the size difference. So they might have to tweak things ever slightly. But pretty much if your friend went to BTS's tour in Korea and then you're seeing it in LA, you're pretty much probably seeing the exact same show. Just a little bit of tweaks here and there to fit that particular arena. All right. As you've been working in this field, I would think that there would be tons of stage accidents, mistakes, lost luggage, and many more in the 400 plus ordeals that you've had. So what's the most memorable for now?
역시 실수하고 좀 잘못된 것들이 항상 기억에 오래 남는 법인데
그죠.
저 같은 경우에는 2019년에 BTS 월투어를 할 때 웸블리 스테디움에 간 적이 있었어요.
그렇죠?
특히 그 웸블리 스테디움은 그 공연장 현장뿐만 아니라 그거를 라이브 스트리밍으로 전 세계에서 14만 명인가가 보고 있었던 날이었거든요. 근데 하필이면 그날 좀 큰 사고가 하나 터졌어요. 그러니까 아티스트를 어떤 구슬 안에 넣었다가 이 구슬이 싹 사라지는 그런 그 디렉션이 있었는데 그 구슬이 그냥 사라지지 않은 거죠. 이렇게 밑으로 쪼그라든 거예요, 이런 식으로.
아이들이 안에 있는데.
한 명만.
한 명 있는데.
그래서 아주 근데 그게 이제 진짜 전 세계로 다 생방송이 돼서 그때 진짜 그 기억이 되게 기억에 남아요. 네.
그러면 저 멤버분은 이렇게 파서 나왔어요?
옆에서 이제 스태프가 들어가서 확 이제 손으로 벗겨낸 거죠. 원래는 자동으로 벗겨져야 되는데.
이렇게 한번 멋있게 샥 한번 해줘야 되는데.
네.
Okay, so this was on the 2019 World Tour that BTS was on before the pandemic hit when they were in Wembley. And one of the members was supposed to be in like this pearl, in this like jewel. And it was supposed to be like, and it has supposed to be lifted off of them. It's supposed to be really cool, great transition. But it just didn't do it. And then the air was shut off. And so what happens? The air shut off and so it started to wither and fall down on top of the member. And so I was like, did they end up crawling out? And he's like, no, the staff went in underneath and like tried to pull it off. And it was not only for everybody there to see, but the whole world saw it pretty much because everybody was live streaming it at the time. So yeah, there we go. That's something that always ends up happening. Before we go into the song break, I want to kind of ask, I know that you're very busy every single day on site and you're not really able to kind of suck it all in because you're working so much. But one thing that all of our K-pop fans love to do is sing along and do the fan chants and stuff like that. Has that ever just made you kind of like stop and be like, whoa, that's so cool? 그런 거 혹시 없었어요? 혹시 뭐 웸블리라든지 뭐 이런 데서
뭐 외국에 가면은 항상 그 현지에 계신 팬분들, 관객분들이 이제 다 따라 부르고 이런 소리를 듣게 되는데 저도 처음에는 그냥 단순하게 와우, 한국어를 다 따라 부르다니 너무 이건 진짜 어메이징하다 이런 생각만 했는데 나중에 조금 더 생각을 해보니까 사실 한국 사람이 영어 노래를 따라 부르는 게 뭐 영어나 스페니쉬를 혹은 뭐 포르투기즈를 쓰는 사람들이 한국어를 알아듣는 것보다 훨씬 더 쉬운 거잖아요.
그쵸,
왜냐면 한국 사람들은 어쨌든 영어에 계속 노출되어 있으니까.
그렇죠.
근데 그래서 그렇게 어려운 일들을 이런 뭐 영어, 스페니쉬, 뭐 포르투기즈 쓰는 뭐 일본어 이런 분들이 이제 따라 부르는 소리를 들으면 굉장히 책임감이 느껴졌던 것 같아요. 아, 이 사람들이 이렇게 좋아하는 거를 나는 정말 잘 만들어야 되는구나. 네.
Okay. Yeah, so he was saying that first, like, yeah, I had the wow factor of going to different countries and seeing all the K-pop fans, like, singing along and doing fan chants and stuff like that. But then for, like, even for Koreans, like, speaking or singing along to, like, an English song when an American artist comes to Korea, like, we're open to English quite a lot. And it's a lot in our culture and whatnot. But for anybody who is, like, from Latin America, who speaks Spanish or Portuguese or any other language, maybe Japanese or anything, he's always kind of felt more responsible to do a good job because he feels that for people from those language backgrounds to really love K-pop and to sing along to all those songs is just mind-blowing for him. So he really wants to try and make better content and make a fun concert for the next time he gets a chance to see you too. So what we're going to do is take a quick song break. Our V-Live Army are super excited that it is Jimin's birthday today. And because our producer has done most of his work with BTS, we are going to take a listen to one of their tracks. We got 불타오르는 Fire, and we will see you guys back after this with more Fire Insider. It's Wednesday here on K-Pop, and as you continue to listen to Arirang Radio, I'm your host, Isak. Today's Insider, I'm going to officially call him just the uncle of BTS. Because he's one of the main producers of their concerts, and we have him in the studio for today. It is none other than Kim Sang-wook PD님, and he is telling us about his life as a main creative director for a lot of the fun concerts we go to see, the fan meetings, the showcases, and all of that. We've had a couple of questions coming in from our listeners. This actually overlaps with some that we have in our script for today. So, Leon actually read your book and was asking, how do you decide when to insert song breaks, VCRs, do the 멘트, and all of that? Like, how does a concert actually, like, come together? How does that happen? 피디님, 구성은 어떻게 되는 건가요?
진짜 간단히 설명드리기엔 정말 어려운
그쵸,
작업인데 예. 일단은 노래들을 분위기가 잘 맞는 것들을 약간 덩어리지게 묶고요.
Okay.
그다음에 그 작은 덩어리들을 이제 어떤 플로우에 맞게 뭐 그런 플로우는 쇼마다 달라요. 그래서 플로우에 맞게 이렇게 배치를 한 다음에 그 이제 사이사이들 그리고 이제 아이돌 공연들은 특히 이제 솔로 스테이지들이 다 있으니까 솔로 스테이지들을 거기에 또 넣고 그다음에 거기서도 이제 빈 틈들을 이제 뭐 토크나 아니면은 VCR이나 이런 걸로 찍어서 그 토크나 VCR을 보거나 들으면 그 넥스트 스테이지가 뭔가 기대될 수 있도록
그쵸?
네, 그런 식으로 짭니다.
Ah, okay. So he's like, oh, it's really hard to organize this into just a really short few phrases, but just kind of like a big bubble of things. First things first is you're going to have to listen to all the songs. So he listens to all the scores of songs first. And then they try to group the songs that kind of have similar vibes. And then they kind of try to see the flow of the show. If they kind of group those into that, then they try to see the flow of the show. And then, of course, there's got to be the solo stages. So they got to fit those into there as well. There needs to be, of course, a little talk here and there, too, to kind of fill in those awkward, silent spots. But also other talk and other VCRs and other stuff like that kind of just helps come into the next stage and prep not just the artist, but the audience as well. So have you... I'm kind of curious because I would feel that quick changes and all this other stuff would have to be set with you together. How does like a first meeting happen? 그럼 만약에 제가 PD님이랑 이제 제가 공연을 해요. 그래서 PD님 잘 부탁드립니다 하면 사실 퀵 체인지라든지 의상 체인지 뭐 그대로 갈지 안 갈지 뭐 이런 것도 좀 생각도 돼야 되고 좀 많은 것들이 좀 한꺼번에 가야 될 텐데 회의를 뭐 예를 들자면 첫 회의를 하게 되면 그 담당을 하고 있는 모든 분들이 같이 나오나요? 아니면 일단은 기술 쪽을 먼저 하고 나머지 거를 하고 뭐 이런 순서가 있는 건가요? 어떻게 돼요?
일단 이제 매니지먼트랑 미팅을 하게 되면
오케이.
뭐 아티스트 본인인 경우도 있지만 보통 이제 매니지먼트랑 미팅을 하면 그 공연이 뭐 언제 어디서 왜 해야 되는지
오케이.
뭐 앨범이 나온 건지 아니면 뭐 그런 이유를 이제 설명을 듣고 나서 그다음에 그 환경에 맞는 가장 적합한 컨셉을 만드는 거죠.
오케이.
네. 그거는 이제 뭐 공연장 사이즈의 문제일 수도 있고 아니면 뭐 계절적인 요소일 수도 있고 아니면 뭐 해외를 뭐 US랑 뭐 EU만 가느냐 아니면 뭐 아시아를 가는 거냐 뭐 일본만 가는 거냐 이런 이유일 수도 있고 그런 이제 여러 가지들을 이제 생각을 해서 그거를 가장 좋은 컨셉과 타이틀을 만드는 거죠.
오케이.
네.
그래서 1차는 약간 그렇게 러프하게 간 다음에 이제 테크니컬한 거는 이제 가면서
그러면 그다음부터 이제 테크니컬한 거랑 이제 디렉팅 같은 경우는 이제 저희 쪽에서 만드는 거고 예를 들면 뭐 의상이라든지 헤어 메이크업이라든지 뭐 퀵 체인지라든지 이런 것들은 이제 그쪽 스태프들이 스타일리스트 팀들이 저희가 짠 큐시티를 보고 이때 이렇게 갈아입으면 되겠구나. 뭐 이때 VCR이 있으니까 이때 갈아입으면 되겠구나. 이런 생각을 하는 거죠.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, there's so much to go into like a concert. Like, there's going to have to be quick changes. There's going to have to be like, are you going to be doing this stage with how many clothes and like, how does this work out? Hair, makeup changes and all that. So I was like, do you get everybody in one room on the first meeting and try to figure out everything out? And he's like, not really. First meeting normally happens with the management or the artist if they're both or either or. And it kind of has to come down to what is the reason for this tour or this concert or this fan meeting? Is it a comeback fan meeting or a showcase or whatever? Is it going to be a seasonal thing? It's going to be like a Christmas concert or like a spring something. They have to kind of work all of those things out. That comes first. So the concept, kind of like the title, which direction they need to be going in comes first. Then his company takes care of the technicals. All right, what do we need? Let's try to figure out what he told us earlier. The flow of the songs, try to figure out if there's going to be talk here, do that, this and that. And then they make a cue sheet. And then the stylists and everybody else, like the hair and makeup team, they will look at that. And then, of course, if there's something that just is impossible, they will, of course, let him know. But pretty much that's kind of how the system starts for all of our favorite viewing venues. This one was asked by Adrian. So how long does it prep for a concert? 사실 콘서트마다 당연히 그때그때 다 다를 것 같고 시간적인 요소들도 뭐 매니지먼트 쪽에서 주는 시간도 있을 수도 있고 제일 짧았던 그리고 제일 길었던 기간은 언제였었나요?
이거는 그 베뉴 사이즈에 따라서 좀 다른데 작은 공연 같은 경우에는 뭐 한 달 반에서 한 2달 정도.
Okay.
근데 막 스테디움 투어다 그러면은 이거는 정말 한 1년 전부터 준비를 시작하죠.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Adrian, if it's like a small venue, maybe 1 to 2 months, everybody can kind of get everything put together and it's not going to be too bad. But if it's like a stadium like tour and like we're going world tour, then it takes about a year for them to prep and do all that stuff for it. So, Stacy was asking, so far, your favorite world tour. 꼭 BTS는 아니어도 되니까요. PD님 지금까지 하셨던 월드 투어 중에 제일 기억에 남거나 재밌었던.
역시 가장 기억에 남는 건 이제 BTS 월드 투어가 제일 기억에 남고 왜냐면 너무 오래 했었어서 6년 반 정도 했거든요.
그쵸.
그래서 그것도 기억에 남고 뭐 CNBLU랑도 월드 투어 했었고 뭐 원더걸스랑도 했었고 네. 또 누구 있었지? 뭐 틴탑도 했었고 뭐 JYJ도 했었고 뭐 여러 팀이랑 했었고요. 가장 기억에 남는 건 역시 BTS 투어였던 것 같아요.
Okay. Yeah, he's like, I mean, for BTS, we worked together for about 6.5 years, so it's the most memorable for them because they've been just put together for so long. But he also worked with like CNBLUE, the Wonder Girls, Teen Top, and even JYJ as well. So, I mean, when it comes to like world tours like that, they're all memorable, but obviously the most time spent would be BTS. Okay, this one's interesting. So it looks like Leon has read your book and is asking, what's the reason why BTS's 2014 live trilogy episode 2, The Red Bullet, was done before 2015's BTS live trilogy episode 1? 왜?
그거는 제가 처음에 이 트릴로지를 생각을 했던 이유 중에 하나인데 이게 이제 BTS의 첫 콘서트였거든요.
네네네네.
그래서 그거를 생각하다가 사실 이 대중음악 콘서트, 팝 콘서트에서는 이런 시리즈물이 없어요.
없어요. 맞아요.
그냥 every single thing인데 근데 사실
앨범을 좀 굳이 한다면 앨범을 명을 두고
그렇죠.
좀 많이 하죠.
네, 근데 뭐 예를 들면 연극이라든지 뭐 뮤지컬이라든지 뭐 영화라든지 이런 것들은 굉장히 스토리텔링이 길어지잖아요.
그렇죠.
근데 뭐 예를 들면 영화에서는 스타워즈 같은 거에 막 시리즈가 뭐 4, 5, 6 한데 1, 2, 3 한 다음에 그게 막 20년, 30년 이렇게 되고
그리고 뒤로 이제 막 프릴루도 나오고 막
프리퀄이
이러니까.
있고
프리퀄이 있고.
그래서 저는 사실 스타워즈를 보면서 콘서트에도 이렇게 굉장히 긴 스토리텔링을 가진 시리즈물이 있었으면 좋겠다. 근데 그게 이제 아티스트의 성장 속도가 있으니까 뭐 그거를 막 7, 10 이렇게는 못하고
그렇죠,
한
그렇죠.
3개 정도로 해서 하는데 스타워즈는 4가 먼저 나왔거든요.
그렇죠,
그래서
그렇죠.
우리는 2를 먼저 하자. 그래서 2가 먼저 나오고 그 다음에 1이 나왔는데 그리고 이제 3가 나왔는데 그게 사실 마지막에 한꺼번에 놓고 보면 다 스토리텔링이 이어지는 거죠.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, so it seems like he really wanted to see some trilogies or like a series of stories come together for a concert. So he's saying like, okay, for plays, for musicals, for movies like Star Wars, they have these series that sometimes don't come out in order. And it continues along storytelling. And he kind of wanted to do that with a pop concert because most of the time, like it'll be the title of the album or it'll just be just very that year and that's kind of it. So it was BTS's first concert and he was like, well, I want to do something different. I want to do something special for the boys and something that the fans are going to remember too. And Star Wars was kind of a big inspiration for him because Star Wars 4 came out first. And so I was like, why don't we do it like that too? So let's do number 2 first in a trilogy. And then we went to 1 and then we went to 3. And so, but even though you might think that it doesn't continue on, all those concerts, the storytelling continues. And of course, if you've been to all of those concerts, it's really going to help you kind of understand the storytelling within that show. Was there anything that really changed your life? It could have been like a slump you had, a low place, or a really high place, and it humbled you. Stacey's asking that from our YouTube live stream. 유튜브에서 들어온 질문인데요. 혹시 피디님 인생에서 뭐 가장 슬럼프였을 때 중에 인생을 바꾼 일 수도 있고요. 아니면 너무 진짜 너무 잘 돼서 너무 기분 좋은데 약간 좀 약간 겸손하게 좀 만들었던 계기가 있었다면 어떤 게 있었을까요?
저한테도 되게 긴 슬럼프가 있었는데요. 왜냐하면 2010년에 제가 전에 있던 회사를 나왔어요. 그래서 독립을 한 거죠.
Okay.
이제 저는 이제 제가 하고 싶은 스타일의 어떤 공연을 만들고 싶으니까 그랬는데 사실 연말에는 그냥 모든 아티스트가 모든 공연장에서 공연을 하잖아요, 보통은. 그래서 저는 그 겨울에 누군가는 나를 찾아올 거야. 내가 필요할 거야.
그쵸.
라고 생각했는데 아무도 저를 찾지 않은 거예요. 그 겨울 동안에. 그래서 아, 이거는 정말 내가 할 일이 아닌가? 혹은 내가 지금까지 이렇게 잘 됐던 거는
그렇죠.
누군가 회사에다가 일을 준 거를 내가 그냥 맡았던 것 뿐인가? 나의 능력은 없는 건가? 라고 하면서 사실 이 길을 가야 될지 말아야 될지에 대해서 굉장히 고민을 하면서 슬럼프를 겪었는데 그리고 나서 이제 2AM이라는 팀 있잖아요. 예, 죽어도 못 보내. 그 팀을 만났고 그 팀을 만나면서 그 당시에 이제 빅히트 엔터테인먼트를 만났고 그 다음에 빅히트 엔터테인먼트가 BTS를 이제 쇼케이스를 시작했고 그러면서 이제 또 인연이 시작된 거예요. 그래서 그 슬럼프를 이제 버텨냈던 거죠.
Wow. Okay, this is amazing. So he actually went through a really low point in his life. So it was 2010. He had just left his previous company and he was on his own because he wanted to do his own thing. He didn't want to be completely confined to just one company and use his smarts. And in Korea in wintertime, everybody does a concert. Like everybody. So it's really hard to find a concert hall. And he was just like, nah. I mean, I worked for almost 10 years. Somebody's going to come to me, right? I don't need the company behind me. Definitely one of the managements, one of the artists is going to be like, no, I want to work with Kim PD님. I need to get him on the phone. But nobody called him. And he started to really question his life. Like, what am I doing? Was I not good enough? Was it just because I was under a certain label? Did they want me? Like, he just really started questioning his life and what he had been doing in his career for the past almost 10 years. And then 2AM was approached and he was able to work with 2AM. And that's how he got introduced to Big Hit. And a year later, we got a chance to see BTS debut and he was able to do their debut showcase. And just like the cliche phrase says, the rest is history. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, fam, we're going to be taking another quick song break. I know that there's a lot of other great messages coming in, so please continue to send those in to us. You mentioned the Wonder Girls, so we're going to actually take a listen to one of the Wonder Girls tracks like this and more of our insiders coming up after this. It is Insider Day. Today, I am officially going to be titling him the uncle of BTS. So the reason is because he's worked a good chunk of his career with BTS on the road, but he's worked with like the Wonder Girls, CN Blue, Teen Top, JYJ, and much more. But he's spent a good chunk of his career being a chance to just showcase their debut showcase, their world tours, and much more. He's a mastermind behind those concerts we go to see and love. So we have our insider Kim Song-Pi님 in the studio, and to have a little bit of fun, we're going to treat you like the idol today. Mm-hmm. You're going to play a little OX quiz for us. So I saw on a interview that you did that there is a technical run through before concerts. Mm-hmm. And before that, though, like the staff goes up and y'all sing before the artists do. So I have to ask you, even though you're the director and the main producer, when I sing every once in a while on stage, I kind of think, maybe I could take somebody else to like Wembley or big stadiums and get a chance to do those concerts one more time. 첫 번째 질문은요. 연출로서 웸블리나 좀 큰 스테디움을 갔었을 때는 다시 한번 가보고 싶다. Oh, yes, 아니면 X, no?
완전 오죠.
완전 오요?
완전 오죠.
Okay, he really, really wants to go back. Okay, so like I was talking about, sometimes he told in a different interview that sometimes the staff goes up on stage and sings to kind of get the feel of what the stage is going to be like. So, did you ever think that I want to go and sing on stage for once? 혹시 PD님은?
No.
왜요? PD님 왠지 노래방 같은 데 가면 마이크를 안 놓으실 것 같은데.
제가 사실 20살 때
네.
그 기타 이렇게 아르바이트, 가수 아르바이트 그냥 카페에서 그런 걸 했었어요.
네.
그때 이제 저도 노래 부르는 걸 좋아하고 했는데 하지만 저보다 잘생기고 노래 잘하고 키 크고 이런 사람들 너무 많아.
Okay. So he actually said, I was like, wait, I feel that like if you went to a singing room, you would never put the mic down. He's like, okay, honestly, when I was like 20, I did a few part-time jobs where like I played the guitar and like sang at cafes and stuff like that. But there are way too many good-looking, talented, and way better artists out there that he's going to just let them do that. Okay. You really do like to write as well, and it does take you a while for a book to come out. But would you think of maybe putting out a third book? 세 번째 책도 나올 거다. Oh, yes, X, no. 3, 2, 1.
세모?
세모.
왜냐면 제가 책을 2권 내니까 사람들이 제가 글 쓰는 걸 좋아하는 줄 아는데
네.
좋아하지만 너무 힘들어하기도 해요. 그래서 that's why it's 세모.
He's like, can I give you a triangle? The reason is because it he likes to write, but everybody right now, since it's like 2 books in, they think he really enjoys writing. He also finds it very tiring and exhausting and hard to do. So he's like, I mean, maybe, but you can't really put anything in stone as of now. You have been doing a few interviews here and there, so I need to see, do you really kind of like broadcast? 피디님이 보셨을 때, 난 은근 방송 출연하는 걸 좋아하는 것 같다. Oh, yes, X, no. 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Oh.
제가 해보니까
네.
뭐 꼭 제가 중요하다기보다는
네네.
이런 스타프들 이야기, 디렉터들, 프로듀서들 이런 이야기들을 사실 사람들에게 알릴 기회가 별로 없잖아요.
맞아요.
그래서 제가 어쨌든 대표로 나와서 이런 얘기를 하는 것들이 굉장히 도움이 많이 된다고 생각을 하고, 네, 특히 청소년들한테, 네, 그래서 뭐 좋습니다.
Okay, so yeah, he said, oh, and the reason is, I mean, not to be like not humble, but he feels that not a lot of people know that much about what happens behind the scenes, the staff that put all that hard work into like concerts and stuff like that. So if he can be like just the main person to channel all of that and tell the world about it, he actually kind of likes this either way. I want to kind of go back to the first one. You did say, oh, I feel though that like Wembley or other big stadiums would be kind of the most stressful, to say the least. So why would be the reason you would like to go back? 사실 그렇게 큰 스테디움에서 투어를 하게 되면 제일 스트레스 많이 받을 것 같거든요. 공연 중에서도. 테크니컬한 것도 그렇고 또 워낙 또 역사들이 많은 곳들이고 해서 유명한 곳들이기도 하고 다시 가고 싶은 이유가 있다면
그런 기회는 정말 아무에게나 오지 않거든요. 물론 굉장히 힘들죠. 하지만
그쵸?
그거를 내가 그 힘듦을 견딜 수 있다고 해서 그 기회가 나한테 오는 건 아니에요. 그 기회가 왔을 때 그걸 견딜 수 있는지 없는지 테스트할 수 있을 뿐이에요. 근데 첫 번째 제가 갔을 때는 이겨냈는데 즐기진 못했어요.
다음은 좀 즐길 수 있도록.
네.
Okay. So yeah, it's like, of course it's extremely challenging, but it's not necessarily something that everybody can do. Just because you got the opportunity doesn't mean that you can handle it. And even though you handle it doesn't mean that the opportunity can come to you. First time he was at like Wembley in these big stadiums, he was able to, he could handle it. But he didn't really get a chance to enjoy it. So hopefully he can kind of go back to these bigger stadiums and actually get a chance to really enjoy the experience as a director. Before we go, speaking of places to do concerts, Tazin from Bangladesh. Bangladesh에서 온 질문인데요. 콘서트 하기 가장 좋아하시는 장소? Doesn't matter. 감성적일 수 있고요. 아니면 정말 그냥 개인 너무 좋았다. 아니면 솔직히 좀 쉬워서.
저는 크든 작든 야외가 좋아요.
오케이. 근데 뭐 변동이 너무 많잖아요. 막 전에
그렇죠.
인터뷰하신 거에서 막 태풍 뭐
그렇죠.
세팅 철수하고 다시 하시고 막 하셨다는데 그래도 야외가 좋으세요?
네. 근데 왜냐면 야외가 주는 야외에서 쓸 수 있는 효과들도 더 많고 그리고 야외가 관객들한테 주는 그런 특별함이 있어요.
Okay. So he's like, anything outdoors. And I was like, but you said in a different interview that there was like a typhoon and you guys had to get everything out and then put it back in. And he's like, yeah, but there's more effects that we can use outdoors. And there's just a special nostalgia that the audience can get from an outdoor stadium. So he tends to like those too. 피디님 저희 벌써 오버 타임이어서 가시기 전에 그래도 마지막 인사 부탁드릴게요.
네, K-pop 아티스트들도 그리고 K-pop에서 같이 일하는 스태프들도 항상 많이 관심을 가져주셨으면 좋겠고, 코로나가 이제 뭐 전 세계적으로 이제 그래도 좀 안정되고 종식되어가는 과정이니까 곧 또 K-pop 아티스트들과 전 세계로 좋은 공연을 가지고 만나러 가겠습니다.
All right, so yeah, he's really excited to see that we're kind of getting back to normal now. So he's really excited to see the fans from around the world on another tour. And he just asks you to continue to show your love and support to K-pop and artists and the staff as well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. And we'll see you next time. 다음에 봐요. 감사합니다.
Thank you. 감사합니다.
All right, taking us out of the studio for today is It's Singin' Showtime. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place.